Cats 2019 is based on the award-winning Andrew Lloyd Webber musical and comes to us from director Tom Hooper, who directed The Danish Girl, King's Speech, The King's Speech, and Les Miserables, the 2012 version. Three movies that I did particularly enjoy, including The Danish Girl. That was actually a phenomenal movie, and I thought deserved every accolade that it got. And the performances were absolutely incredible. I also want to say that I've never seen a live performance of this musical, so I really had no attachment to it. I had no, like, oh, I loved it when I saw it on stage, let's see how it translates to film. And Andrew Lloyd Webber is divisive among a lot of people when it comes to musicals. I did enjoy the 2004 rendition of The Phantom of the Opera that had Emmy Rossum in it. I thought that was a lot of fun with a lot of pep and everything, and the music was pretty goddamn good. I really did enjoy it. So, and I do like musicals. I like Grease. I like a few others. And so I'm not against musicals. The music in this movie was performed fine. It was generic. It was sung well. Jennifer Hudson, Taylor Swift, and others did do a pretty good job when they were delivering these songs. The problem is, the rest of the movie is fucking terrible. Let me reiterate, fucking terrible. From the special effects to everything, the paper-thin plot. It's like this movie was an hour and 50 minutes long, and really, it felt like it could have been maybe 80 minutes. There wasn't much to this movie. There's this group of cats called the Jellicles. Judi Dench is, the elder cat. She has to pick somebody among this group to ascend to heaven, so to speak. And, I guess the whole reincarnation, the 9 lives of a cat and stuff like that. And she has to pick the one that has the best soul. And, oh yeah, all these, humanoid looking cats are all, rubbing up against each other and wanting to fuck and wanting to do a lot of dirty things to each other. And it's very uncomfortable. It is very, very uncomfortable. I know this is probably how cats would act if human beings weren't around. But here's the difference. You can see cats doing that and be like, oh, that's sweet. The cats are loving on each other and everything. This movie was just gross, and it was really, really fucking shit from the very beginning. Now, I was willing to give it a chance, even as I sat down. I was like, okay, the critics have savaged this thing. Even audiences have said it isn't all that good. Some people that love the musical love the movie. Some were divided on it, but the critics basically savaged this thing thinking it's a crime against humanity. And it pretty much is. This is one of the worst movies I've seen in the last 10 years. Now, musicals are hard to adapt to to the silver screen. Sometimes they can do pretty well. I enjoyed the Mamma Mia movie that came out in 2008. I know some people didn't, and that is okay. But a lot of, musicals, at least if you can have some fun with it and everything and have some good characters and have some interesting, interactions, great. The problem with this movie is all it was musical numbers that just didn't mean anything to me. The tissue thin plot wasn't any good. I didn't give a shit what happened to anybody. You had Idris Elba playing the villain, and you had this freaking all-star cast in it. You had Taylor Swift, Judi Dench, you had Ian McKellen, Rebel Wilson, James Corden. Okay, maybe those last, James Corden's still popular. The whole thing is, you had Jennifer Hudson. You had a lot of people in this, and a lot of other people that I'm missing, where this could have worked. And this movie cost $95 million. That's what the estimated budget was. Now, I don't know if half of that went to the cast. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping everybody got a big goddamn paycheck for putting their face on this fucking tripe, because it was really tripe. It really was. And in case you're wondering if I'm going to spoil anything, there really isn't much to spoil. If you've seen the musical, then you got a pretty good idea what's going to happen, because I would imagine that renditions of this, no matter where they're performed in other countries or in other parts of the U.S., would be basically the same, just obviously with different actors. This movie, from the very beginning, I was like, okay, you have this cat that gets dumped, and from there, she kind of is nervous and everything. She's in this weird city and stuff like that, and she runs into the Jellicles, and they're talking to her and wanting to know what's going on, and hey, you could be one of us, and then she goes with these 2 twins that help her commit some crimes and stuff like that, or some pseudo crimes. And there's a lot of attempts at comedy that fail flat. I mean, fail flat, fall flat, whatever you want to call it. They fail miserably. I don't know if it had to do with the direction. I don't know if it had to do with the fact that they were like, hey, this is funny. Oh, that's the first take. Yeah, we'll just leave that in. And also, I'm sure the special effects team did their best goddamn job that they could. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did the best they could. I'm not here to knock their work. I am here to simply say whoever thought that putting those special effects in the final cut needs to be slapped, because they were horrible. The costumes weren't all that impressive. It just was weird seeing the human faces, the human hands, and why were the cats wearing shoes? Why were they wearing shoes? I know they're supposed to be humanoid-esque cats, but still, why are they wearing shoes that they're supposed to be cats? It was just bizarre. I mean, none of this was explained. But again, as an outsider, I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to get what an insider with somebody that's a fan of this musical will get, but it didn't draw anybody in. This is not going to create a lot of new fans. I mean, if you're a fan of the musical, you're going to like it, or you're going to hate the rendition of, or you're going to hate this interpretation of it. If you're like me and you like musicals, you're likely going to hate this movie. Oh, and Idris Elba is like this evil magician cat that wants to win this competition to get a different life, I guess, even though he's a magician cat. That would be kind of goddamn cool to see. But no, from the very beginning, the comedy, Rebel Wilson, who actually is pretty funny, did some comedy that just wasn't all that funny. And once again, the special effects look like shit. Remember Catwoman? Remember Catwoman? You know, the Halle Berry version? The special effects in that movie actually look better than these. That movie was done in 2004, and that movie had terrible special effects for even back then. There are movies that had computer-generated effects in the 90s that were better than this. I don't know if it was a rush job. I don't know if anybody didn't care. I don't know if the studio just said, yeah, okay, you haven't done any, really polishing of this. Oh, this movie is almost 2 hours. Yeah, we'll get people to sit down there and, watch it. Now, this is counter-programming to Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, which, by the way, I did a review of, and you can check it out on the channel. I was 50-50 on that one, but that movie is just going to destroy anything else that it comes out the same weekend. But okay, Cats has an audience. Did you like it? I would sure like to know if you guys did like it. And if you're a fan of it, if you guys can tell me a version that I should check out that's either on YouTube or, available on Hulu or Netflix or something, I will check that out, and maybe I'll even do a retroactive review where saying, okay, I understand why people like Cats. But as for this movie is complete and total ass and is one of the worst movies of the year. It might be my worst movie of the year. It's really hard to tell, but this made me hurt. This made me hurt inside. This hurt me. It hurt my pride. It hurt my soul. It is a crime against humanity. It's a crime against catkind. And I love cats. And by the end of this, I felt like barfing up my own goddamn hairball. It was horrible. There's no other way to put it. Again, to wrap around for the nice little, positive thing, the musical numbers were fine. They were fine. They were performed well. They were And Taylor Swift, who was advertised as having a major role in this, was in it for like 7 minutes. Maybe. And 5-7 minutes. She performed her, song well, and she had a whole bunch of catnip and everything and drugged everybody out and did this weird thing where one of the characters disappears because Idris Elba's character is like, no, I will take you away and I will win this competition. And then this person's brought back within like 5 minutes. So that plot device went absolutely nowhere. It felt simultaneously thrown together, stretched out, and also rushed at times. And that's a rare 1, 2, 3 punch to do. That is difficult to do. And I'm sure that Tom Hooper will go on to direct other movies and better movies. Hopefully he directed ones that I mentioned before in the beginning of this review. But good God, never put another film version of this musical in theaters again. Don't ever even put it on camera like this again. You want to do a stage play? Fine. $95 million, and this thing didn't even look like it could have cost $40 million outside of the cast. Oh, and Ian McKellen. I respect the hell out of Ian McKellen. He's had a hell of a career. He should not, I don't know if he was tired in this or what, but when he sung, it was bad. This movie was explosively bad. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. This is the worst movie of the year. It is, because it offended me. It offended me more than Black Christmas. Because this movie made me hate musicals. And I actually do like the musical genre. So this is going to be the worst movie of the year. But stay tuned to figure out what I say about, about the other worst films of the year. I'm going to be doing 4 end-of-year shows. But yeah, this movie, terrible. It's like a smelly litter box that you can never get clean. It's so fucking bad. It's so fucking terrible. It's just good God. All the musical numbers, the special effects, the beat. Everything was terrible about this outside of the songs. I mean, in the songs, I can't even really name much of any, much of the, or I can't even name them. I can't tell you much of what they were about, but I remember not hating the musical numbers, except some of them drug on a little bit too much. This movie is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And it deserves every bit of savaging that it gets. I'm sure I'll get savaged by fans of this musical, like I care, because I'm entitled to my opinion. So anyway, let me know what you thought of the Cats movie. Because if you liked it, I would sure like to know why. I would sure like to know why. I'm not against anybody liking this movie. If you liked it, great. But I didn't. F. Fucking F. I'd give it an F minus if that grade even existed. But there may be a poll up there. If there's not, leave your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. This fucking movie. Fuck this goddamn movie. Maybe not literally. Gross.